This Australian Open Life. We tell stories, and the story we are telling right now, thank you very much, is we're just going to change this thumbnail because that's the wrong thumbnail. It is the preview, first round preview, first round day 2 preview, and as we catch up with our administration, and we've still got our training wheels on just while we settle into a routine. We're really happy to see that these new content formats are beginning to get some traction with the audience, and just letting you know that as of yesterday at 6 o'clock, we had 248 new audience members for the first time, and we want to thank you all for dropping in and dropping by, and hopefully what we would like to see is your return patronage. So if you're just coming across us for the first time, welcome. This Australian Open Life is produced by Wise Words Media. We're based in Melbourne, Australia, the home of the Australian Open. We are simply a short drop volley from Melbourne Park, home of the Australian Open. So please subscribe, please like. At the very least, if you could just do a bit of an interaction with us, would be much appreciated, because that'll help us grow the channel. So what are we doing here today? Well, I'll tell you what we're doing. The short and the sharp story is that we are doing a first round preview, day 2. We are previewing day 2 at Wimbledon, and the Wimbledon schedule looks a lot like this. So feast your eyes on this. Now, the annoying thing about this software is it won't let me. Where is it? It won't let me. Where is it? It won't let me scroll down for you. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going down the order of play for day 2 at the top of the screen, the 4th of July, starting around about 8 o'clock tonight, Melbourne time, local time. You can see the dual clock there at the top right-hand corner, just inside the right-hand corner, where you can see local time in London, local time here in Melbourne, and the poor old Poms. They're still screwing up their faces. And all this kerfuffle about what's been going on in the cricket. We've got both sets of prime ministers involved. So Rishi Sunak at 5 a.m. Tuesday morning in London, he'll be having a bit of a gripe that he can't sleep because the humidity is 76%, would you believe, and currently 13 degrees. The Poms, they're looking at a bit of rain today, and only going to get up to 18 degrees. They've been going through some heat waves lately, and we're very jealous of them because Melbourne is the temperature has rocketed up to 12.9 degrees since this morning. We're a little less grumpy than we were earlier on, which is good news all around. So that's the story. We're going to be going through the day 2 schedule in reverse order. We're starting off with the lesser-known names, the lesser-known lights. We'll be avoiding the well-known names and showcasing some of the lesser-known players, because that's the best way to learn about the ATP and the WTA Tour, the players around the edges who are doing the hard yards, maybe having to play qualifiers or being given wild cards. Some of the Poms yesterday, they had some really good results amongst their wild cards, so well done, Jody Burridge. I'm talking to you. Now, we're going to so we're not going to take a break. We hope to get through all this in a good 60-minute session, But whenever you hear this stinger, you'll know that we're moving on to the next topic or the next match. So let's just get our house in order here. So before we actually get into the schedule, and by the way, we don't do any predictions here. We don't speculate or surmise. We are simply all about good tennis at all Grand Slams. So we're not doing any predictions, but we will do our best to show you what matches are coming up. Now, the first thing we've got to do is just clear a bit of confusion up. So although I can't scroll the screen, you will see down the bottom of the screen on the number 2 court, you'll see the centre court at the top. You'll see the number 1 court at coming up second, and so the number 2 court, you will see that there are some incomplete matches, and there is an incomplete match between the Frenchman Halise, and he is leading Dan Evans, the 27th seed, Great Britain. They finished in bad light last night, so they'll be continuing their match. So I'm going to go right down the bottom of the schedule to court 17, and we're just going to work slowly up the order to see which players have to come back to continue their match. So right down on court 17, and I'm just going to take a refresher. Excuse me as I just have about my 50th cup of tea for the day here at the Wise Words Media Production Office. Danielle Collins was leading Julie Graber of Austria, and they were unable to continue their match. They're basically only one set into their match. Now, at the moment, Collins leading Graber 6-4 in the first set. They are scheduled to play second. They're the second scheduled match on court 17, and they are not playing first. They've got to wait until at least 12:30 p.m. because leading off is another match, and we won't go into that yet. So we'll just scroll up the scheduled play, and the next unfinished match is on court 14. And again, the match scheduled to run second on court 14. And that match between Pella, let me just check this chap's full name, Guido Pella of Argentina, 33 years old, ranked 308 in the world. So he must have... did he come through qualifying? He must have come through qualifying. So Guido Pella and court 14. I've just got to scroll all the way down again. He is leading Borna Koric. My goodness, he's leading 6-3. Won the first set. 4 games all in the second set. So Borna Koric of Croatia, the 13th seed, got a little bit of work there to do to get things back on even terms. Court 11, we have another unfinished match, and this match is actually well into itself. 3 sets they've played already, and this is Zapata Mireia of Spain. He is leading the Argentina Echeverri, the 29th seed. So the unseeded player is ahead and leading 7-6, 7-5, trailing 3-6 in the third set. So he'd want to be properly warmed up before he gets out. He'd be well pleased with himself, the Spaniard, the unseeded player, that he won the tiebreaker, the first set tiebreaker, 7-5. We've got a single match scheduled tonight, Melbourne time, for court 10, and that one will not start before 12:30 local time in Wimbledon, and it is Bautista Agut. Let's just open this out here. That'll save a place. So Bautista Agut, Roberto, the 35-year-old Spaniard, doing very well in his later career to be hurtling around all the different surfaces of all the different Grand Slams. He is 23. That is a mighty effort for a 35-year-old. So extremely fit, extremely dedicated, and he is leading the unseeded player. Batista Agut is ranked seeded 20 in the tournament, and he's up against the unseeded player from Russia, Roman Safulin, the right-handed player ranked 92 in the world. So the lead there, they're 3 sets into the match, 6-2. Lost the second set, did the Spaniard, 6-7. He lost it. He must have lost it 9 points to 7, it looks like, and then he's won the second set tiebreaker just as they called time because of bad lights. He's won it 7-6 and 7 points to 4 in that tiebreak. So we'll look for another unfinished match here on court 8. Mayotte of France is currently leading Bonzi of France. We've seen a couple of these on the first day. We saw matches that were between French compatriots, and considering all the riots going on in France, actually, there's that's just in bad taste to say that, so we'll stop that. And apologies if I've offended anyone, but Benjamin Bonzi, 94, ranked 94, 27 years of age, and he is unseeded, and so is his compatriot who leads the match. And going further up the schedule, I know there's a couple more that are yet to be finished. And on court 12, we have Elbot. He's leading Denis Shapovalov of Canada, the 26th seed. Now, Shapovalov hasn't really kicked on, has he, the last 2 or 3 years? Extremely talented player, and at one stage was the #1 player for Canada. He's trailing by 1 set to love, but it's all even in the second set, 2 games all. Court 3, and now we're getting close to finalising these unfinished matches. Court 3, not before 12:30 p.m. local time. Taylor Fritz, the seeded 9th, currently leading the German Yannick Hanfmann, and that game is well into the 5th set. So, excuse me, Taylor Fritz leading 6-4, 2-6, 4-6, 7-5, and 3-2 in the 5th. Taylor Fritz, I'd be expecting him to get through that, a former semi-finalist. And finally, as we said, Dan Evans, that match, Dan Evans is trailing by 2 sets to love. Enough said. No wonder he was grumpy last night when he went to bed. So that's the story. So now we'll go back down the bottom of the schedule, and what we're going to do, I'll explain right after this. Okay, so to explain, and just sticking with the schedule there, how this works is we're making it up as we go along, and we're not going to go into too much detail because we want to get through this in inside 60 minutes. We've got other things to do today. The way we did it yesterday, we'll stick to that format. We're just going to highlight a single match. We're going to highlight a single match only, and we're going to alternate a single match only on each court. So the first court, we'll start off with the ladies, alternate to the next court. We'll check out one of the men. So that way we won't bore you to sobs. You must be sick of the sound of my voice by now. But that's the way we'll do it, and we'll tend to focus on only the lesser-known, lower-ranked players, because as far as we're concerned at this Australian Open Life, that's our whole strategy is to focus on lesser-known players, the wild cards, the qualifiers, the players that do it tough. Some of these players are playing their first ever Grand Slam in their late 20s. Some of these players have been playing Grand Slams for 10 or 12 years, 8 years, and they've never made it past the second or third round of a Grand Slam. So they're the people that we want to talk about because sometimes they're the most interesting stories. So without any further delay, let's have a look at the action coming up on Court 17 tomorrow, and it's going to be one of the ladies' matches. So every time you hear that stinger, you'll know we're moving on to a new topic, and that'll hopefully keep you alert, keep your ears open. So let's have a look down here. These are all, remember, these are all first round matches, and keep your ears on for the end of this broadcast, because I'll be filling you in on how the rest of our broadcast coverage is going to shape up and how I see things panning out. Now let's have a look down here. We're looking for one of the ladies' matches. Well, let's do this. Let's go to the very end of the schedule. There's 5 matches scheduled starting at 11 a.m. local time in Wimbledon, and the very last match on court 17, the very last court, is a ladies' first round match between Linda Noskova of the Czech Republic. She's 18 and she's ranked 45 in the world, and she is playing the girl from Hungary, Dalma Galfi. She's ranked 126 in the world. Both of these girls are unseeded, so I can see that the highest ranking, this is the highest ranking for the Czech player, Linda Noskova, but she is also just starting out on her Grand Slam journey, so obviously coming out of the junior ranks, where last year her debut on the Grand Slam circuit was Roland Garros, a couple of first round losses there, also the US Open. She also went back to Roland Garros and improved her record by getting to the second round before she exited. Now her opponent, slightly more experienced, but not by much, 24-year-old Dalma Galfi. Her highest ranking is 79, so she's just looking to try and settle her career down and get some traction in the top 100. But she also debuted at the US Open in 2021. She's played 5 Grand Slams since then. This year, 2 Grand Slams, both times out in the first round. So there you go. We're off and running. Let's hit the next court. And I will now, I'll change this screen for you so that it's a little bit more visually interesting. You get the idea with the schedule. You can, that's the Wimbledon website, by the way. So we're happy to share all this information because that's what we're all about, helping our audience. If you're just a casual tennis fan, that you just take a vague interest in the Grand Slams, maybe you're not too fussed about who's who, and you only know the well-known names that pop up in the media all the time. We don't mind sharing this information because maybe you've never even seen a tennis schedule before. So that's what we're all about, helping educate and raise the bar in terms of knowledge for our audience. So let's go to the next match, and we'll just go up to court 16. 5 matches also scheduled there, and there is, let's see, we've got to get a gentleman's match now. This is interesting. Now, I'm going to go, even though he's well known, I'm going to go for this chap. Everybody knows Milos Raonic, the Canadian, 32, has been around for a long time now. He's been on the circuit, the Grand Slam circuit, since 2010, and a little bit of an unfulfilled career there, and by that I mean that yes, he's performed well at Grand Slams, but he's only got, let's see, one semi-final at the Australian Open in 2016. Has only reached the semi-final stage once. He's had let's see, there's 5 quarterfinals appearances since 2014. So you'd have to say Milos Raonic, an extremely talented, imposing figure on the court, but you'd have to say that when he hangs up his racket, which hopefully isn't anytime soon, but he hasn't yet managed that Grand Slam semi-final or Grand Slam final. So I think he is coming back. I don't know whether it's injury, but we haven't seen him on the circuit since the 4th round of the Australian Open in 2021, which that kind of accounts for his exceptionally low singles ranking of 849. But have a look at this. He's racked up 20 million, nearly just over 20 million in prize money, US dollars, and his highest ranking in the singles is 3. So if you enjoy watching good tennis, you can't go wrong watching Milos Raonic on court 16, and his match will be sometime after 12:30 p.m. Local time tonight, or during the day in London, and his opponent is Denis Novak. Now, Denis Novak is also a well-credentialed tennis professional, a highest ranking of 85. I thought he was higher than that. At the moment, he's 159 ranked in the world, and both of these players unseeded. And Denis Novak is from Austria, and oh boy, 29. So he hasn't. I would have thought if you had asked me straight off the bat, without even looking at his record, I would have said, oh yeah, that guy's done quite a bit round the traps on the Grand Slam circuit, and it turns out he hasn't. And he doesn't have much of a doubles Grand Slam record either. So Denis must be spending a lot of time on the Challenger circuit and the ITF rounds, so that's possibly accounts for his lack of Grand Slam activity. So moving up to court 14, and I forgot all about this. That's better. Court 15, again 5 matches scheduled, and the reason for the 5 matches, yesterday there was maximum 4, sometimes 3. Well, the rain put a little bit of a spanner in the works with the schedule for the outside courts, so that is why you will find there's a bit of a crowding of the schedule here. So let's go down to the last match scheduled for court 15 for the day. It is a ladies singles match, first round match between Beatriz Haddad Maia of Sao Paulo, Brazil, and she's up against the girl from Kazakhstan, Yulia Putintseva. And so the Brazilian, 27 years of age, ranked 13 in the world, has been as high as 10 in the world, and she is building up a fairly decent resume there in Grand Slams. But that resume mainly, even though she was a semi-finalist at Roland Garros this year, she's mainly getting to the second round only of all her Grand Slams to date, since 2017 was her debut. And as far as the girl from Kazakhstan goes, her ranking, highest singles ranking is 27, currently 56 in the world, and at the age of 28, she'll be well happy with her career to date, because since making her debut in 2013, she's been a quarter-finalist at Roland Garros twice, and she's also been a quarter-finalist at the US Open, and very consistent performer, usually getting up to the third or second round of most Grand Slams that she goes into. And she also competes in the doubles, thank you very much. So she's got a very nice bank balance, thank you, that has seen $6.5 million US dollars fly into her account. So well done, Yulia. Moving on to where are we going now? We are off to court 14, of course. So now we're looking for a gentleman's match. I can see a familiar name there, so we're giving the familiar names a bit of a wide berth because we want to highlight the lesser known names. So yeah, let's go for Brian Shelton. Brian Shelton, the number 32 seed on the men's side of the draw. He's 20. Oh, Ben Shelton, I beg your pardon, sorry about that, Ben. He's from Atlanta, Georgia. 36, ranked 36 in the world. That's a very decent ranking for such a young guy. Obviously coming not long out of the American college circuit system, because you can see here on his record he's only had 3 Grand Slam appearances since debuting last year at the US Open, but he had a great breakthrough at the Australian Open, being a quarter-finalist. Well done, you. And he'll be looking to build on that because he wasn't able to get past the first round at Roland Garros, but his opponent, a very experienced Grand Slam tennis player on the ATP circuit. Taro Daniel. He's an American by birth, but he's a naturalized Japanese citizen, and he began his career in the Grand Slam circuit in 2014. Currently ranked 106 in the world and doing very nicely, thank you very much, with the highest ranking of 64. So he'll be feeling confident against the bloke 10 years younger than himself, and he's had a patchy run through the Grand Slam since his debut. So obviously, I would say, and this is the only speculation you'll hear from me, is that possibly the gaps in his Grand Slam resume. Maybe that's when he's been on the ITF Challenger circuit trying to build up his points. But generally hasn't done better than a third round appearance at a Grand Slam. So let's move on. So we're looking for a match between the ladies scheduled on day 2, first round day 2 matches. And let's have a look through these. Oh, that looks a fairly appealing late. Oh, here we go. So I can't help going past one of these players because we've seen her before, and we've even shown her matches in the Spotlight Series and the Shotmaker Showcase. So let me introduce you to. So I'll just go the extra mile here because it's always good to see a familiar face. And this girl. Just 1 second. I will just... No, that's not what I want. I want this. This girl is a very clever player. We saw her at the Australian Open a couple of years ago. So why not introduce you to the Japanese player, Nao Hibino. G'day, Nao. It's good to see you. 28-year-old Japanese player. She played the qualifiers in Australia in 2022. And you can see from her results there, she made it through the qualifiers and only made it to the first round, losing that first round. Hasn't been on the Grand Slam circuit until Roland Garros. She plays right-handed. She's from Aichi, Japan. She has had a best ranking of 56 and mainly a doubles player, I would say. So look out for this Japanese player, Hibino. She's a great talent, and I've just realised that I've lost the press conferences page. No, I've lost the. I've got to do this. Just 1 second because I want to make sure. Here we go. This is what I want. I'm just going to bring this back. I completely forgot that I didn't. I completely forgot that I didn't have this. So just bear with me as I do this. To get this playlist back. No, that's not the one. Apologies, just chat amongst yourselves. That's right. I want this. This is a good point to introduce this. No, to introduce this. And I'm interrupting myself because why not? Because I can. But I just want to reintroduce so that the audience knows that if you miss any action, this is the playlist that you want, that we've created especially for our audience, the Wimbledon As It Happened playlist and podcast. So if you missed out earlier today, that we went through all the matches from day 1, first round matches. You can see as it happened, we have covered that for you. So just wanted to interrupt myself to let you know about that. Okay, so getting back to business. Let's go back to get the background going again for you, and keep it interesting. Not that one, and sorry for the delay, but there is Spotlight Series. That's what we want. But I want to keep this visually interesting for the audience, because so we're going to I'm going to keep it interesting here to make sure that we're plugging our content library, which has been up for a couple of years now. So I'll just get this going, and I'll keep the sound muted because there's commentary over the top. And this is a preview in our Spotlight series between one of the Australian players and the Estonian player Kai Kanepi. Madison Inglis made the third round of the main draw at Wimbledon. So there's a fair bit of there's something interesting there visually to keep us all engaged as I go through the draw. So let's go back to the match. As I was about to say, the match we were just talking about, which is now Habino. She's playing the French girl, Alison Cornet, Elise Cornet, I beg your pardon. So it's the 28-year-old Japanese up against the 33-year-old French woman. Just briefly recapping, Habino, 127 in the world, right-handed, and Cornet, a very, oh my goodness, very experienced player, 33 in the world, ranked 74, has been as high as 11 in the world, and she has been a Grand Slam contestant since the 2005 Roland Garros tournament, where she got as far as the second round. And look at this resume. Unfortunately, although she's played every year, and usually there's only 3 years since 2005 where she hasn't played a full calendar year of Grand Slams. And finally, and I think I remember this, she was a quarter-finalist. She made a debut quarter-final appearance at the Australian Open last year, 2022. And I do think I remember that it was a really big deal, and it was certainly celebrated by the tennis community. So well done, Elise. So moving on to court 10, and that can only mean one thing. We've got to get a stinger in because we've got to get some consistency here. So we're going to skip court 10 because Roberto Bautista Agut, we've already talked about him. Moving on to court number 9, we're going to avoid the Australian, and we're going to pick up the match between the Swiss player and the Japanese player. So it is the Swiss player being Marc-Andrea Huesler, the Swiss player, 27 years old, singles ranking of 81, has been as high as 47, and he is just, this is what we like about these players, these stories of the lesser known players, because at 27, Huesler has only played 4 Grand Slam tournaments since making his debut in 2022. So that's what we love about these players, all the different stories. And he's playing Yosuke Watanuki, the 25-year-old Japanese player from Saitama, ranked 116 in the world, and he's making his second ever Grand Slam appearance, ranked 116 in the world, as only this is his highest rank is 116. So both those players unseeded. Yes, they're both unseeded. So it's write your own ticket. If you're watching Court 9 tomorrow, the third match on Court 9, the winner, well, your guess is as good as mine. So we're hitting the half-hour mark, and hopefully we'll wrap up within the hour. But anything could happen. So we're looking at Court 8. All matches tomorrow start at 11 a.m. except for the show courts and centre court. So we're looking for a interesting ladies match. An interesting ladies match. 1 second, that could be one. Let's go for the unseeded players facing off across the net from each other, and the last scheduled match on Court 8 tomorrow. So So it's the Belgian player Janina Wickmeyer, 33, a ranking of 112, singles ranking, and she has been as high as 12 in the world during her journey. A very experienced player, made her debut in 2008, and has only made 3 Grand Slam appearances since 2018. So perhaps, I know for sure, now how's this for a piece of trivia? There are 8 mothers playing in the women's side of the draw this year. So perhaps Janina Wickmeyer is one of those mothers. I'd say that's what accounts for her. Up until 2018, she was appearing in a Grand Slam, every Grand Slam for a full calendar year since 2008 to 2017. So I'd say that's what it is. And her opponent will be a Russian, Anna Blinkova, and she's ranked 40 in the world. So moving on to our next match. The next match is on court 7, and we're looking for an interesting men's match, and yeah, there's an Australian in the second match. So we'll skip the Australians because we don't want to be too boring and biased. So let's have a look at this one, the second scheduled match for court 7 for the day. It's an Italian by the name of Matteo Arnaldi. What a baby face this guy's got. Whoop. Nice one. 22 years old, but yeah, he's far from a baby. He's 6'1" and 71 kilos and ranked 80 in the world. He's just around his highest ranking of 72, and he began his Grand Slam career at Roland Garros this year. That's his only Grand Slam appearance. He made as far as the second round, and he's up against a very wily Spaniard in Roberto Caballes Baena. And I would be tipping the Italian to cause an upset here, because we know that the Spaniards and the Argentinians, the Colombians, the Brazilians, their preferred surface is clay. So even though Baena has a ranking of 57 at the moment, and is far more experienced, I can see his resume for Grand Slams has not ever made it past the third round since his debut in 2016. So look out for an upset on court 7 at Wimbledon day 2. Okay, so moving on, we're just heading into the home straight. We've been going for just shy of 40 minutes, so we've got a little bit of time up our sleeve. And we're looking for a ladies match. Let's see. Oh, this is always good. A couple of unseeded players facing off. So these are the most interesting matches, because especially if you're inexperienced or if you have a bit of trouble transitioning to the grass court surface, well, you got your work cut out for you, haven't you? So we've got a Belarusian player, Alexandra Sasnovich, and she's facing off against a Spaniard, Nuria Paredes Diaz, and the 31-year-old Spaniard, she's got a ranking of 105. Not the most experienced singles resume for a 31-year-old I've ever seen, but nonetheless, I would say that she should present a fair challenge to her opponent. So moving on to court 5. And at court 5, we're looking for a gentleman's match. There's 4 matches scheduled there, starting at 11 a.m. And why not? Let's look at the first match between 2 unseeded gentlemen's players. We've got a Frenchman, Alexandre Muller, 26, ranked 84 in the world, and he does not have the most experience in Grand Slams, has never been past the second round, has only made 1 appearance beyond the first round in a Grand Slam. That was 2 years ago in Australia. His opponent, equally not so much very experienced, Arthur Ridderneck. He's 27, ranked 82 in the world. Has a little bit more prize money, but I'll put that down to his quarterfinal appearance this year at the Australian Open. Not to be rude or anything, but these two chaps. The Frenchman also has never been past the second round at a Grand Slam. So write your own ticket for that result, and let's move on to court. I said let's move on to court 4. And the ladies, why not? Let's just cut to the chase. The first match here. Oh no, actually we won't do that one because we looked at the qualifying match for Zhu Xiaobai, the Chinese player, the other day. She won quite comfortably in the end against was it Brenda Brogan? I can never remember these names. So let's have a look at the last scheduled match, which is the 5th match for this court for the day, and it is another Spaniard, Jessica Bouget Minero, the 20-year-old, and she's making her Grand Slam debut. Thank you very much. Ranked 167 in the world, which I can only put down to some fantastic performances on the Challenger circuit. Well done you, the ITF circuit. And she is up against a Ukrainian, Annalina Kalinina, the 26-year-old Ukrainian. She is ranked 26 in the world and has been as high as 25. So she's just about hitting her peak. And she'd be aiming to do better than that, no doubt. She's obviously far more experienced. But for all her experience, she has never been past the 3rd round of a Grand Slam. And now we head back out to court 18. Court 18, where there's tumbleweeds bouncing around the feet of Stan Wawrinka. There was, anyway. So, have a look where, oh my goodness, Alex de Minaur for his first round match. They put him out on court 18. That is I'd be having a word to the men in the white hats in the administration office if I was Alex de Minaur. Fancy going out to court 18. Anyway, so the match immediately after de Minaur is between the Japanese player Sho Shimabukuro from Gifu, Japan. He's ranked 162 in the world. He is making his Grand Slam debut. Well done, you. And all the best for your match against, I didn't realise it was Grigor Dimitrov. What's he doing there? I didn't take enough time. I was so shocked to see Alex de Minaur on court 18. Well, the Alex de Minaur. So Dimitrov from Bulgaria is also a ranked player, the 21st seed in the tournament. I think if you're a true tennis fan, and even if you're not, you'll know who Grigor Dimitrov is. And let's move on to court 12. As we hit the 45-minute mark, don't worry, we're not far away from finishing. So court 12, there is 5 matches scheduled. We're looking for a ladies singles match to highlight. So let's go for the 2 unseeded players who are facing off against each other. It's an American. She is playing a Spaniard. The American, just coming up now in the browser loads. It's the 33-year-old Alison Risk Armitage. And I'm not giggling in disrespect. The giggle is that my pronunciation is just so poor. I'm trying to take any attention off my exceptionally bad pronunciation to distract with a giggle or two at myself. So 141 ranked in the world, plays right-handed. She's been as high as 18 in the world. And she has a heck of a resume. This girl debuted at Wimbledon in 2010 and some very consistent performances throughout all the Grand Slams and usually putting in a full calendar year between 2014 and 2020. She's Her best singles result is a quarterfinal at Wimbledon in 2019. She's also reached the fourth round of the US Open twice. So, and also Australia, a fourth round appearance. Well done, Alison. And she is up against the Spaniard, the 25-year-old right-handed player ranked 35 in the world, Paula Badosa, and she's been as high as number 2 in the world. I did not know that. Well, that's why she's got $5.5 million in her bank account over the journey. She debuted in 2019, and she had a quarterfinal appearance at Roland Garros. She's had oh my goodness, she's done very well. She's had 4 fourth round appearances at across all Grand Slams since 2020. So I would say, Alison, despite the fact you are unseeded, Alison, I think you've got your work ahead of you trying to get over that Spaniard. And as the qualifiers, the footage from Traralgon plays out, we're not far off finishing up as we're getting to the first of the show courts and the end of this live stream presentation, this episode. Really appreciate your company. So we're going to be running across some familiar names. So let's go to we're looking for a men's match. So why? Oh, we can't go. So we're going to go to the first match of the day, and the number 6 seed. He's playing a player from Great Britain, and the player from Great Britain, George Lofhagen, 22-year-old, plays right-handed, ranked 371 in the world. I'm pretty sure he got a wild card entry. He's up against the Danish player, Holger Rune, and this bloke is on fire. I'll tell you what, since he debuted at the US Open in 2021, he has had 2 Grand Slam quarterfinal appearances, both in France. He got to the 4th round of the Australian Open this year, and he's going places. In fact, I'd go so far as to say he's actually there, because his bank balance, career prize money, $5.5 million US, and a singles ranking of 6. I would say this bloke has not only got some traction in the top 10 in the world, I'd say he's there for the duration. So the second last match we're going to highlight today. I was going to say the next match is on court 2. We're looking for a match between the ladies, and let's see, what choice have we got? Well, seeing as we're at Wimbledon, we should pay some respect to the locals, and wouldn't you know, here's Heather Watson. Now, I thought she'd retired. I thought Heather Watson was well out of the picture, but no, here she is. She's playing on court 2. She is the 4th scheduled match for the day on court 2, and of course she's from the Isle of Guernsey, ranked 144 in the world at the moment. She's been as high as 38, and she's been kicking around the circuit since 2010. But her name comes up a lot in dispatches as far as talent goes, but has she fulfilled that talent? Well, I mean, there's a lot of pressure to succeed if you're a British tennis player, because the expectations are so high, and the poor old Poms, they tend to look on the glass half full side of things. So Heather Watson has only been to the 4th round of a Grand Slam once, and that was last year. And well done, Heather, because last year you brought a smile to the face of many British tennis fans, and filled a lot of column inches in the British tabloids. Hopefully it was all about tennis too. So she's up against the Czech Republic player, the Czechia player, Barbara Krejcikova. She plays right-handed, ranked 11. She has been as high as 2 in the world, and she's got the resume to show for it. Even at 27, she's only been going around the Grand Slams full-time since 2020, even though she debuted at the French Open in 2018. She won the French Open, thank you very much, in 2021. She was a quarterfinalist at the US Open. She's been a quarterfinalist at the Australian Open, and repeated that with a 4th round appearance this year at the Australian Open. So she is in hot form with lots of experience. We've got 2 more courts to go. So So let's speed through these by looking at the well-known players only. We won't go into their background because they're all over the media, online. They're in podcasts, they're in news reports, they're on social media. They're being plugged this way, that way, quoted in the media, blah, blah, blah. So let's finish off with a gentlemen's singles first-round match on Court 1, starting at 1 p.m. between the Spaniard. Thank you, Caroline B. I misspoke yesterday when I called him Argentinian. He kicks off at 1 o'clock. Carlos Alcaraz, he's against the Frenchman, Jeremy Chardy. And on centre court, why not start with the first match of the day, which is the American Rogers against Alina Rybakina. Why can't I say these names? I'm so embarrassed. So Shelby Rogers, ranked 49 in the world. She's been kicking around since 2010 on the Grand Slam circuit. And Alina Rybakina, she's a naturalised citizen of Kazakhstan, but until about 5 years ago or 4 years ago, she was a Russian by birth and by citizenship. So that's it. Let's take a slightly longer break and come back and wrap up. Presented the first round preview for both day 1 and day 2 of Wimbledon, and this has been a new content format for us at Wise Words Media. We've been pumping out content since Saturday morning, just gone, and we thought we'd have a go at a first round preview. So that's the end of the previews. So we won't be doing any more previews from now on for this particular tournament because we don't want to repeat ourselves by going over old territory. We've basically had a good look at all contenders, and we've highlighted what we think is the most interesting stories of the most interesting players down the lower rankings, so we can all get a bit more educated about the world of tennis. It's a global game, and it's not just all about the well-known players like Djokovic and Sharapova when she ruled the women's roost. And why not learn a bit more about the whole professional tennis circuit? Why not? Because there's not enough attention given to these players as they go through their qualifiers and their first and second rounds, and often never get a mention unless they're up against a better well-known player, where they either get trounced or fight a gallant defeat. But that's our bread and butter at this Australian Open Life. We like to give a little bit more and give a lot more back to these players, and just to drive home the point, some hero shots and stills from qualifying in Australia, in the rural country regional town of Traralgon. We also went to Bendigo, and this is where these players from all around the world, they don't just come to Melbourne. They've got to get on a train or get on a bus. They've got no entourage to carry their kit for them, which is often they're carrying 5 or 6 rackets with them. It's not all about the red carpet and the statues and the champagne crowd that sits in the corporate boxes. And you can see those 4 girls, that doubles match. There's a lot of hard work that these often young players, some of them very young and they're still in their teens trying to build up some points, and some of them might be down the back end of their career, playing out into the twilight of their career. So there's a lot more that goes into a Grand Slam than just the bells and the whistles that we're all familiar with, and all the usual cliches that the media likes to trot out. And so there you go. So that's it. We'll be right back after this. So we'll wrap that up here, and finish off by thanking our audience very, very much. We've attracted a lot of new audience members into our orbit. We hope that you'll. We thank you for dropping in and dropping by and spending some time with us, and we hope you come back when it's convenient to you. To listen to the full episode or most of the episode, but let us know in the comments. Some feedback always helps, because that's the best way for us to grow this audience, is to learn what the audience wants or likes or dislikes. We're not afraid of negative feedback, because that'll help us work out what it is that we can offer given our resources. For now, with that preview for the first round, day 2 over, that's it for us for the day, and we'll come back tomorrow and we'll do another presentation of first round, day 2 as it happened, and that's what we'll try to aim to do on most days throughout the tournament. We can't promise we'll do it every day, but where we can, we'll do it, and we'll certainly review and have a think about this format with your help, of course. We'll think about how we can tighten things up and make it even better for the US Open and, of course, the Australian Open, because the Australian Open being our bread and butter, but tennis being a global game, it's you guys that we want to provide content for. And although we're obviously a little bit biased because we're based in Melbourne, Australia, but obviously we want to bring a little bit more consideration for our audience. We don't want to bang our own drum all the time. So that's about it. So that's about all I can think of. I think I've covered off every base. Oh, I just want to show you this. So let's just do a little bit more housekeeping and mention these items. So again, just want to remind you that if you didn't catch them earlier today, we've got a podcast all there for you, and that list will build throughout the rest of the next couple of weeks. And anytime you want to find a wrap-up of the tournament play as it happened, that's your playlist. That is on the platform for this Australian Open Life. Now, the other thing we want to share, just a reminder again, the tournament schedule, you can find that there on the Wimbledon website. And the other thing I want to tell you about is this: if you're interested in the top line players, why not just have a snoop around yourself around the Wimbledon website, and you'll find your way to their YouTube channel. And that platform has all the press conferences, the media conferences for all those players. And you'll see as we scroll down, as we scroll down. Oh dear, it's been a long day. We can't scroll down again. I don't know what's going on there. Anyway, you'll see all your favourite players. If you have a favourite player, or there's one that you're interested in, or there's someone that you're not interested in, and you want to learn a little bit more than just the usual 60-second or 90-second soundbite where a journalist has asked a question and you're getting an answer through the mainstream media that's cut short, and you want to get the full context of what they actually said and how they answered the question, These media conferences are there for you to enjoy, and we don't mind sharing those because that's what we're all about here at this Australian Open Life. We want to give you the best seat in the house, and if you can't get the best seat, you might as well share some time with us, and we'll try and round out your tennis experience. So that's it for now. You've been listening to The Bloke Who Walks. This Australian Open Life is produced by Wise Words Media. We are a boutique production house in Melbourne, Australia, home of the Australian Open. We are just a short double fold from Melbourne Park. And we love tennis, and we love it when it comes around this time of year with Wimbledon. And we're really thrilled to keep building our audience and growing our audience. And the best way you can help us to do that is to like this episode, subscribe to this platform, hang around for a bit, and keep us in mind. Share us on your socials. Tell your friends, tell your tennis colleagues, or tell your tennis fanatics or your tennis tragics, because what we're going to be doing for the rest of the Wimbledon tournament, we'll be bringing you all the news about where's the tagline? I've lost it. We'll be bringing all the results, the match play, the scores, the tears, the tantrums, the injury timeouts, and more, and player interviews. So please come back. We'd love to see you again. So that's all for now. We will thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, and it's bye for now.